The Maldives, a paradise of blue seas, sandy beaches and rich marine life. But for one particular sea creature, the last few years have not been so good. And I'm here with a team from Sea Life who are taking that animal back to its new home in the United Kingdom.
This is our famous April, yes.
Wow. Hiya.
Hello, gorgeous.
Oh, she's beautiful.
So April was found entangled in fishing nets, so in a ghost net. So because of it, she was entangled probably for a couple of weeks. So she ended up amputating herself. So she came with a quite recent amputation. So because of it as well, she's suffering from buoyancy syndrome. So this means she's not able to dive down because there's air inside of her body. So some X-rays showed us that she has lung tears. So there's air escaping from her lung constantly, so she cannot go under the surface of the water. So cases like this, we cannot return them back into the wild, so we try to relocate them into a better environment so they can actually live a more normal life, and then that way we can admit more patients into our rehabilitation and give chances for more individuals so they can go back into the wild.
All right, speed up.
So April, at the moment, we're trying to take her out 2 times a week or so as well. It depends on the weather, especially because she's ready to fly out. We're trying to give her a little bit more interaction in the ocean before she goes to her permanent home.
Hey, go, darling. What's that? What's that? Well, we're up early this morning to carry out what is the real aspiration of the work that happens at the Turtle Rehabilitation Centre, and that's to nurse turtles back to full health and then release them back into the ocean where they belong. And in this case, it's 2 little turtles that have been at the centre for a year now. They came in with 43 of their other brothers and sisters and were found lost amongst the rubble of a construction site. The rest have all been released already. These 2 are not quite as healthy, so they've been here for a year to get nursed back to full health. And now today, they're going back to the sea.
When they were going down the sand, they were really slow and it really took their time. And then once in the water, they were just like little jet skis, just straight out.
Of course, April is in a different circumstance. Her injuries are so bad that she will never be able to survive on her own in the ocean, and that's why she's being rehomed.
So we've been working on this project since 2018. There's been a lot of work involved from myself and the team, liaising with all the authorities to get the permits in place. In the next 24 hours, we're going to prepare April for a journey. She's got a long flight ahead, so we'll make sure that she's all wrapped up, nice and warm, all prepared. She'll be popped into a transport box and loaded onto the British Airways flight with the help of IAG Cargo. We'll be transporting her back on a passenger plane back to the UK.
So before April takes flight and heads to Scotland, she's leaving a legacy, a parting gift to the Maldives that's been her home for the last 2.5 years in the form of this. It's a coral frame. And what we've done is we've attached little bits of cuttings from the coral that's around the island onto the frame. The frame goes in the sea, and all these little cuttings, these seedlings if you will grow and surround the entire frame, and that'll help to regenerate and rejuvenate the reef around the island.
2, 3.
Being rehomed to the Sea Life Centre is great for April. It's going to give her the best quality of life that she can have for the remainder of her life. But actually, it kind of benefits us as well, because she'll be a great kind of ambassador not only for marine life and sea turtles, but because of her injuries, which are quite obvious, she'll kind of act as an ambassador for the idea of plastic pollution and ghost netting being an issue and why we need to do something about that, because sometimes the concept of marine conservation can be quite difficult to wrap your head around when you talk about kind of the world below the ocean out there, whereas when you see an injured turtle up close and personal with injuries caused by ghost nets and plastic pollution, then suddenly the issue is driven home a lot more intensely.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
This is where April's long journey from the Maldives to Scotland begins. She's going to be moved from here into her business class transport crate on the Watchful Eye of Ali and Mark, and then be taken to the airport.
This just basically keeps the moisture in so she doesn't dry out.
So April's coming to Scotland from the Maldives, and that might seem a little bit unusual to some people, but actually it shouldn't be, because although April's an olive ridley turtle, she's one of seven. There's 7 marine turtle species in the world, and you don't get olive ridley turtles in Scotland. However, you do get loggerheads and leatherbacks. The leatherbacks are the largest turtle in the world. So we've just arrived at the Maldives International Airport. April's off the boat and she's heading to cargo to be checked in. Next stop, UK. Well, the sun still isn't even up yet here in Scotland, but after a journey of over 5,000 miles by sea, by air and by land, April has finally arrived in a new home here at Sea Life Loch Lomond.
Through customs straight away, all the guys were absolutely great, from the transport to the guys at the airport. Not a problem at all. Temperature were good, health check, she looks really, really good, she's in good condition. So yeah, super happy. So she's up in quarantine at the moment. We'll do some health checks, she'll have some bloods done, she'll get an ID chip so we'll know exactly where she's from. She'll have a history of when she came into the UK. Then once she's all happy with that, we'll do some little introductions to the tank so it's not a huge stimulus of too much. So we'll slowly get her used to the tank, get in, get her out. And then once she's in here, it'll be really good for her because most of the fish in here is stuff that she would have encountered when she was actually in the wild. So yeah, it'll be a bit like home from home type of thing.
And here on the banks of Loch Lomond is where April's big journey, her big adventure, finally comes to a close. And she'll spend the remainder of her days here under the watchful eye of Mark and the carers at the Sea Life Centre in Loch Lomond, and we wish her all the best.